Yo, what up? What up? This is the Big Chop broadcast. Happy Thursday. You know what it is. I am greatly joined by Earl Walls Jr., also known as Mr. Walls to the Bishop O'Dowd students, also known as Bucci to those that, and most importantly, to me, known as Uncle EJ.
Yeah.
You know what it is. Glad
ahead
to have
and-
you for the night. Help me out with this little project I got. So great to have you here at the house.
It's all good. What up, Neff?
Yeah.
What we doing?
We're gonna start off with a little quote of the day and get started. Then we're gonna dive right into the questions. You feel me?
Let's do that.
So for the quote of the day, I can't take credit for this, but it's a little something that I saw about a week ago, and I'm like, I'm about to use it.
Oh, it's not an original?
It's not original. I couldn't cook up original.
It's all good. What we got?
We got hear this out. Someone out there is holding their breath, waiting for you to fail. Make them suffocate.
Ooh, hold on. Who said that?
Coach JB.
Of course.
Of course, but
Man.
But yeah, that's real though.
Nah, for real. R.I.P. man to a legend.
Yeah, man.
Hey, I like that. Legend. Let them
that's
wait.
a bar,
Let 'em
man.
watch.
Make them suffocate. I like that.
Let them watch.
Let them wait.
Let them watch
In despair, while you
let them watch
while you take flight
in
through the
despair.
air. You know what I mean? While
Okay.
you take flight.
We're gonna dive straight
air,
into this.
You know what I mean?
The first question is: we just watched the Ole Miss Miami. Let them hold their breath and watch you work. So, question is immediate reactions.
I love that.
Did the game go as expected?
So,
any other thoughts that you got? We're gonna dive straight into this.
Ooh.
The first question is: we just watched the Ole Miss Miami
okay,
game.
we're not gonna talk about my little.
So,
My little
question is
parlay.
immediate reactions. Sure, we don't want to talk about that. That might be a little affected what you got about the game.
Bro, nah, it's crazy because
Great game,
man,
disgusting
tough
football.
one.
Like,
Okay, we're not gonna talk about
it really,
my little,
if we being honest, the
my
game
little
shouldn't have been as close as
parlay.
it was.
Sure, we don't
Miami
want to talk
dropped
about
like
that.
5 picks.
That might be a little affected what
You
you
know
got
what I
to say.
mean?
Right.
Bro,
Penalties.
nah, it's crazy because
But
I knew what was gonna
after the first
happen.
quarter, and it was like
And
maybe
then
3-0 or
I
something. Something told me like in the second
was in
half
denial.
that the offenses would get it going and it would open up. I
think
didn't expect 25
First reaction
points
to
in
the
fourth quarter.
game,
That
it was a great game. Well,
kind of shocking.
great game,
You got
disgusting
the
football.
last sports question
Like,
for the day.
It
And
really,
I
if we
need
being
you-
honest,
I
the
need you
game
to
shouldn't have
take
been as
your
close
feelings
as
out
it
of this
was.
one.
Miami dropped like 5 picks.
I don't need any emotional
You know what I
answers or
mean?
anything
The
like
penalties.
that.
But
the Niners
after the
had a
first
chance-
quarter, and it was like
did
maybe
the Niners
3-0
have
or
any
something.
chance to win on the
Something
road
told me
against the
like in the
Eagles?
second
of
half.
course.
Here's the
offenses
thing:
would get it
what
going and
people
it would
want,
open up.
the Niners will absolutely lose if they try to make
That
this
was
a
kind of
Brock Purdy
shocking.
revenge game. I'm a Trinidad
Philly.
Chambliss fan.
Like,
that's what
So,
I think. That's what a lot
I
of
feel
the
for him.
and I feel like I've been watching
narrative
Carson
around the
Beck
game
since
is gonna
I was
be,
in high
you
school,
know,
bro.
first
First of all, they're gonna say last
is
time
he
they were in
ever
Philly,
gonna leave us
false.
alone?
Last time the
7
Niners
years
were in
in
Philly was a
college.
regular
Yeah,
season
that's
game,
kinda
and they
crazy.
smacked them up.
It's pretty
in the
crazy.
rain.
But
It was bad.
It was pretty
I think
bad, right?
even going
But
into the
also
game,
our
I
offense,
knew-
I
excuse
felt
me,
like the 49ers
key-
offense looked a lot
I knew
different
that
at
Ole
that
Miss
time.
would
You
figure
had
out a way
your
to put
Debo
up some points.
and your Ayuk. I'm pretty sure they were like at full strength.
But my
I
key,
said the
my
one
key
thing
to the
that y'all
game
got
was
advantage
going to
of,
be
I think
about
y'all
what
can
they,
finish the game
if
better.
Ole Miss was going to be
I
able
feel
to
like-
hold up on
I feel like
defense.
It's gonna take.
You know, like
my
Miami's
scenario
offense
is
isn't that
if
explosive,
Eagles
but I
come
knew
out,
that
if the Eagles
like,
come
you
out,
know, they're gonna put
off
the ball
gates,
in the hands of like the
doing their
Malachi
thing,
Tonys
then y'all go
and
3-and-out. Then it's gonna be
and let him
long
go to work.
down.
It's gonna be cookies.
But I
And it's
feel
not
if
like
you
Ole
guys
Miss
can,
defense
play a little,
has been
a little
dominant,
hard-nosed
in
defense,
these
keep it close
previous
to the
matchups.
second half.
So that was what I was
because,
more
we've
worried
seen
about. Like I didn't have
Jalen Hurts has
no,
not been that
I didn't,
good.
I didn't have
breaking
any
down.
AJ Brown,
reservations.
One
about
AJ
what they were
Brown
doing on the
defensive
offensive
side
side
of
of
the
the
ball,
ball,
away
even
from
even with
Saquon,
Miami's
who
stout
happened?
front
I don't know.
seven.
But I feel like if
I
it gets
felt
to the
like
fourth quarter,
they had the
and there's
advantages.
a
They had good
one-possession
matchups
game,
in the
I
skill
feel like the
positions.
Eagles are gonna they're gonna break
And
down, and
Miami made
somehow
the
Niners are
mistakes
gonna
that I
tie it
thought
up
was going
with.
to give Ole Miss
Mhm.
that
I think
chance.
that's where
Like
y'all
if you
got
look
the
at the
right.
stats,
So like we said,
the
he's
time of
now a
possession,
Bishop
the
O'Dowd
yards, the number of
educator.
plays,
Oh yeah,
like the
yeah.
game
So
should
I just
not
want
have been as
my
close as it
question
was.
is, what made you want to become a teacher?
So I was kind of
And did you
surprised that
always
Ole
see
Miss
this for yourself?
wasn't able
Like,
to
you always see yourself
pull it
becoming
out.
an educator or a teacher.
That
this
last
kind of role.
touchdown.
That's a great question.
There was just that last drive in general. Once they took the lead,
so
I was like,
I'm
all right,
currently
again,
teach
timely stop.
ninth
Go out and
grade
get the
English
timely stop.
at Bishop
They
O'Dowd High
just couldn't
School.
do it.
in
I do think
Oakland,
ultimately maybe the
California.
more balanced,
It's my alma
better
mater.
better
I
team won, the
graduated
more
there
well-rounded team
in
won.
2011.
They're
Right.
a little more balanced
Whatever.
over there in
I
Miami,
knew that
but
was coming.
I don't know,
I've
man.
always
We'll
been
see.
surrounded
I
by
don't.
people who are naturally drawn to
I
like
know we still got to watch
educating
Indiana
others
and Oregon tomorrow,
and
but
appreciated that.
assuming Indiana
I
takes care of business, I don't see
started-
either of the teams that played tonight beating.
My experience
Indiana
working
in
with
the
young people
championship.
started while I
Yeah,
was
my
I
whole
was in
thing
high
going to
school,
the
while I
game
was at Bishop
what
O'Dowd
we're gonna
my
see.
senior
Yeah.
year.
Because like
the site that I
Because
did
like
my
Carson
volunteer
Beck,
hours
you
at
know, if
was
he's
at
on,
this
they're gonna
elementary
win because
school
you
down
know
the
they
street called
they
Reach
got that
Academy.
foundation. But if he was off,
You
it's
know,
gonna be
we're
a
like
really long
in
day.
the heart
Right.
of deep East
I mean,
Oakland,
he did
98th
enough to
and
win. I say
Bancroft.
Yeah, he did enough.
And
he didn't do
I
anything
was
crazy.
working in the
Him
after
and Trent
school
had
program
basically
there,
exact same stats.
and
Just he's threw an extra
it
touchdown,
was
lost
really
another
cool,
pick.
man.
Right.
Just
But like
I
the
love the
run game was
energy.
about even too.
Yeah,
At
love
least
like
I
the
mean, Kyle
feeling
Lacey
of
had
being in a
103
sort of
rushing
like
yards.
mentorship
I
role.
mean,
Um,
Mark Fletcher for
or a
Miami
role
had
to like
133.
impart
The
oh yeah, I
wisdom.
forgot
Wow,
about
Fletcher.
also
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
he went
nice.
crazy.
um
But my whole thing to the
you
game was I
you
knew
get a
that
lot out
I
of
knew the Ole
working
Miss
with
defense
kids,
if
right? Like
they weren't gonna hold
it
their
can be
own.
Yeah, if
draining, it
that's
can
the
be
unit that
exhausting,
you
but
need to go
I
out and
also
But if
basically
feed
we
win
off
you
of
the
their
game,
energy a
right?
lot.
Or
So I
yeah, it's
enjoyed
not
that
gonna
experience and
happen.
kind of
doesn't
took that
feel
on.
doesn't feel too good. And I mean, like you said, I didn't realize how like I knew a little bit about the coach drama with Lane Kiffin and whatnot, but I didn't realize how much of like the coaching staff turnover there was and this whole like, letting them coach for the first couple of games, but then now they had to leave. And so seeing Ole Miss only have like two real coaches and a bunch of grad assistants out there,
Yeah,
it's like it's kind of crazy that they were even in a position to win this game. We were looking at that touchdown, that Malachi Tony touchdown should not have happened. The whatever safety that was, that last unblocked man made it. There's a lot of business decisions being made, and I'm like, bro, if you don't want to go head up and lay a hat on somebody, why are you on the football field? Like, I don't want to see this no more.
a lot of business decisions being made, but there's no business being
Yeah,
made. Like
man, a lot of business decisions being made, no business getting handled.
no
All
business
right,
is getting handled whatsoever.
like what are we doing, bro?
But definitely one thing that surprised me about the game was like the Miami up front. Like they weren't bad per se, but they definitely like we watched the last game too when they played like Georgia and
Mm-hmm.
like Ruben Bain was not
Not a factor.
was not a factor today.
What
I
was the
mean,
other Mesidor?
Mesidor was hurt and he really wasn't a factor before he even got hurt. So it
Yeah,
was I mean, Keontae Scott really didn't make a whole lot of plays. So it was just a lot of like it
yeah.
was just a I mean, it was low key a shootout, but like not really. So it's just like they played enough defense to win the game. It's definitely
Mm-hmm.
not what we saw last week, and they're definitely
Yeah,
gonna whoever they play, especially if it's Indiana, they're gonna need those two guys to make plays.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I know that what's the name? We're talking as though it's a given that Indiana wins tomorrow, and I know it's not. I
Right.
think Fernando Mendoza is not, super mobile, but I feel like he's shifty enough. Like it's not like he's a statue back there. Um, but we'll see. I mean, what would be really real? I'd almost be more intrigued by a Miami Oregon matchup. Um, in the championship just because I think I like I like Oregon's like style of play on offense. It's a college game. You like seeing the mobile guys who can move around a little bit, but I don't know. Either way, it should be pretty entertaining. I'll probably be if Indiana wins tomorrow, then I'll be pulling for Miami probably, and then if Oregon wins, I'll probably pull for Oregon.
Yeah. That talking about the tomorrow's game leads to the next question is
Oh yeah, my bad, my
yeah,
bad.
no, you're all good.
That's a good
Good,
segue.
good segue right here. But like, so who you got for tomorrow, Oregon or Indiana, and who you think is gonna be the X factor for both sides of the ball?
Oh man, that's a great question. I do think I would say I mean obviously the things that jump out are like the big names. I'm looking at for Oregon on the defensive side, or excuse me. Oh yeah, they I don't remember their names, but I feel like their front seven. They got two guys on the D line too that kind of step up. Um, I've never viewed Oregon as like a super stout defensive team. It seems like their identity this year is more leaning into playing real straight up defense. Um, like I've seen them play more lower scoring games. They shutting dudes out. They shut out Texas Tech last week, um, which was a surprise to me because I feel like you usually look at Oregon like the high flying, like throwing the ball all over the field,
Right, right.
and that's not so much the case. At least that's not what I've seen out of Dante Moore. I think they're more focused on just like, running the ball, taking care of the ball. So I would say their front. 'cause it's going to be a trench battle. You know, Indiana. That's where Indiana seems to dominate in the trenches. Um, I think that receiving core in Indiana is pretty nice. Like the what's his name, Surratt. He just seems to always be there, always get open when they need him to. I think an X factor for the game is going to be discipline. Like it's going to come down to which team makes less mistakes. I feel like Indiana's been one of the more buttoned up teams in the country all year. So if they keep that trend, Oregon can't really afford to make any costly mistakes, turn the ball over, penalties, stuff like that. So it's for me, it's like less a player than just like how disciplined are they going to be, how well coached. And that's not always the determining factor. Tonight, I think Miami, committed a lot of penalties and still won, but
Right.
we'll see. I guess ultimately prediction wise, is rough. I've been saying like Indiana's going to blow Oregon out, but I almost forgot that they played already this year, and it wasn't super close. But I know Indiana won that game, and both teams have probably gotten better since they played the first time. But I know how hard it is to beat a team twice in a season,
Yeah.
so it probably will be a lot closer than some folks expect. Maybe that's why the spread is so low. I think that it's only like Indiana's favored by like 3.5 or something.
Right.
And I was kind of expecting that spread to be a little bit wider. So I think they're taking that into consideration. Like, Oregon is probably going to put up a big fight because don't nobody want to lose to the same team twice in a year.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said earlier, Indiana did beat this team earlier, 30-20. It really came down to Dante Moore making a couple mistakes in the fourth quarter,
Right.
and
Right.
then Indiana being able to run with it. I feel like,
Yeah. What do you think?
I think Indiana got it. I
Yeah.
think just for, we saw what they did to Alabama last week. Like
Yeah. That was crazy.
that was bad.
I don't think I've ever seen Alabama get curb stomped like that.
Yeah, it ain't the same Alabama, but that's probably the worst I've seen Alabama play in a minute.
Yeah. Facts.
Yeah,
This Kalen DeBoer era. How they doing?
yeah. He's, I mean, he's
They've got a couple
they,
big wins, couple signature wins, couple CFP wins, but
it ain't Nick
they
Saban.
ain't won the big one.
It ain't Saban. I
Yeah, it's
gotta say that
definitely
for
not
sure.
saving for sure.
But also, I feel like Oregon's defense, like you said, they got Mateo Ugalungale
Mm-hmm.
from on the DN, and they have a really good defensive tackle. I'm blanking on his name right now. Number 52 in the middle.
Yo, yeah.
Yeah, those two. They're gonna be some factors, but I think that if it ends up being like shootout wise, I think Indiana's gonna take it.
Yeah.
And then also the fact that Indiana's deep. Indiana's team in general, if you look at it, like it's a lot of. They got transfer portal guys, but they're like older vets.
Yeah,
Like it's not.
exactly.
I feel like Oregon got a lot of younger guys, younger
Mm-hmm.
talent. Like Indiana's just a bunch of, you know, 22 mature
Yeah.
guys who are been at, either been at the school for all 4 years or
Right.
this is their last year playing, and they want to prove that they can.
Mm-hmm.
That hey, Indiana ball, it's changed it's changing the college football world.
As they should. Yeah, that's crazy because then who was the last time you heard anything about Indiana football? Um, if ever,
Yeah,
right?
ever.
And I feel like that seems to be a little bit of a trend though with this with the college football playoff is like these teams with collective experience. Like Miami's kind of in a similar boat. I don't know how many transfers they got, or Carson Beck, namely being a main one. It seems like the teams that are successful aren't necessarily like, oh, it's been the same guys playing with each other for 4 years, but there's like some kind of roster construction going on in the season right before that. They get a key transfer or um somebody, some like red shirt senior is the one that
Mm-hmm.
making all the big plays because they've been
Right.
wanting this for so long. um so it's gonna be a really interesting game, but I agree. I think ultimately Indiana got it. I could see Oregon making it a close game, but yeah, it's gonna be Indiana Miami.
Yeah, my little final thing about who X Factor in the game. I feel like it's gonna come down to the two coaches.
Yeah,
I feel like Dan Lanning, this is his time to,
he
get a big
better.
win.
Yeah.
Not saying he's on the hot seat or anything like that. I mean, Oregon's been preliminary, a good program, above
Mm-hmm.
average program. I mean, it's what were they in the playoffs last year?
Didn't they?
I believe so.
Yeah, I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, overall for like the past couple years, they've been above average. But I mean, for a coach of his caliber, I feel
Yeah,
like it's his time to finally solidify. And but Signetti's he got the
bro
Indiana
said
boys
Google me.
dialed. That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like Indiana just got all the confidence right now. I think Dan Lane's gonna try to prove something, and that might fumble it up just because
Mm-hmm.
they got the confidence. Dan Lane's gonna try to see if he can prove something to all these people, and then take some risks that might cost him the
Mm-hmm.
game. That's why I'm just thinking off of it.
You know, it's interesting that you say that because what was it? Was it last year or 2 years ago? The Oregon Ohio State game with the like the time that like they did something.
I think that was last year.
It was last year, right? It was something that they had practiced like to make sure that was how they got Ohio State to run out of time.
Yeah,
I think, and that's that was a cool moment, but also there's something about that gives me like the Dan Lanning coaching style. He's not as like rah rah, but it almost reminds me of, like Dan Campbell. You feel me? Like
risk taker.
yeah, take a lot of risks, or maybe just get so emotional, like so kind of caught up in the game.
Right.
Maybe make some decisions that aren't necessarily as sound, uh, for the sake of like I don't know, doing the edgy thing, like or the
Right.
unexpected thing. It's like, bro,
And we know, hey, football's an emotional game, but sometimes
yeah, go ahead on, kick that field goal, or
right,
you know what I'm saying.
take the points.
It's like people, the cats will forget that it's a field position game too. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, we just gonna go for it on fourth down on our own 32-yard line, and think that that's not gonna come back and bite us, later on in the game. So yeah, it should be really interesting. I'm just looking forward to some good football.
Yeah. Hey, we have football for 4 days in a row, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I ain't mad at that at all. Literally until I completely forgot that these games were today and tomorrow. The homie like,
I'm tripping. It's 5 days in a row, huh? It's Thursday, tomorrow.
oh, do we get a game on Monday too?
I believe so.
One of yeah, it's
I
the
believe.
last
Yeah.
the last playoff game. I
We
think
get
it's that
3 games
Texans Steelers
Sunday.
game is Monday.
Yeah.
So the homie called me at like 4 to talk about the game. I think he was trying to put his little bet in or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dang, I completely forgot. And I was like, that's so dumb. Why Thursday and Friday? And then I was like, oh well, I mean, you got the NFL playoffs, and so I think maybe this would be for another episode. We need to talk about this schedule, bro. Like the college football playoff schedule, cats don't play for a month. Like, why? College football season ended like a month and a half ago. Why are we watching?
Right.
Why are we in the middle of January?
Still watching college football.
They got a. Ironically, wasn't it Dan Lanning? I think I saw a clip of him, like saying, offering a solution to make it all make sense, to where like it made it to where the national championship would be on New Year's Day or something. I think it like eliminated some of the empty time in between games and whatnot.
Right.
But this is weird competition between like NCAA and the NFL. But I ain't complaining right now
Yeah, I would say
for 5 days in a row of
if
football.
I was an organization person, I'd probably complain, but as a fan, I'm definitely not
Yeah,
gonna knock it.
yeah.
But yeah, we got the last sports question for the day, and I need you to take your feelings out of this one. I don't need any emotional answers or anything like that. But do the Niners have a chance?
Why are we talking?
Do the Niners have any chance to win on the road against the Eagles
Chance
this weekend?
Any chance? Of course.
Okay.
Any chance? You asking? Do they have a good chance?
Do you have a chance, and what is it going to take to win?
Okay, I like that. I like that latter part. Let's talk about the what is it going to take if they were to pull it off. I mean, I know this is going to sound. Here's the thing: what people want, the Niners will absolutely lose if they try to make this a Brock Purdy revenge game in Philly. Like that's what I think. That's what a lot of the discussion and the narrative around the game is going to be. Oh, first of all, they're going to say last time they were in Philly, false. Because last time the Niners were in Philly was a regular season game that they smacked them up in the rain.
It was bad.
It was pretty bad, right? But also our offense, the 49ers offense looked a lot different at that time. You had your Debo and your Ayuk. I'm pretty sure they were like at full strength. So there's some new faces in the building, new targets that Brock's relying on. But my thing is like, you can't really deviate right now. You got to do what's I feel like the 49ers have to return to what worked. Not even necessarily this year. Like they gotta find a way to run that rock. It's got to be a huge McCaffrey game. Um, you go with your trusted agents. It's like McCaffrey, Juszczyk, Kittle, sprinkle in some Jawan Jennings in there. Maybe a Jake Tonjes, a big Jake Tonjes play or two. Hopefully Ricky Pearsall plays. But the offense needs to keep Philly's offense off the field.
Right.
Like the key to the game for the 49ers is to move the ball, possess the ball, keep their defense on the sideline as much as possible. I do not want to see the 49ers defense on the field all game because it will be atrocious. Like that's yeah. I know Philly's offense has a habit of being like stagnant and whatnot, but leave it to them to decide as soon as the playoffs start.
That this is the week.
Yeah, this is the week to like explode. You know what I mean? And because they can hit you from all these different angles. They can run the rock. They got great weapons. And that 49er defense is young. They're beat up. They're tired. All I need the bend don't break. Y'all can give up all the yards you want to. When them cats get down there in that red zone, force the field goal. One, maybe if we can win the turnover battle, like if we can keep it clean on our side and force one turnover, get 1 4th down stop or so. And I also think that there's going to be a big special teams play that maybe flips the game at some point. Maybe we block a field goal or like return a punt for a touchdown or something like that. Flip the field,
But I feel like whenever I watch, especially in the playoffs, like it's always when it comes to the Niners and for some reason the Steelers, like like you said, like a special some kind of that play, man.
Mm-hmm.
I always go to Green Bay, the
Hufunga,
yeah,
Joe
like,
Buck,
like all that, like those kind of plays. I don't know what it is about the Niners and the
mm-hmm.
Steelers because they be coming up with some crazy strip fumbles, crazy interceptions, those kind of
Mm-hmm.
plays. And I feel like that definitely matters. But
Yeah.
looking at both sides of the ball, what about guys who seems like going to be inactives for the Niners side? We saw last game, Tatum Bethune, he's not going to play.
He's out for the year, bro.
Yeah,
groin
injury. So
about to have Eric Kendricks in there starting. Like, okay.
I mean, he's been in the league since I can remember. I don't even know.
He's been in the league as long as Carson Beck been in college. No, I'm
right.
playing.
But we already know Fred Warner, even though it's hopeful that if y'all can make it far enough that he'll come back, but he's definitely not going to be very ready for this week. We already know about Mikael Williams, Nick Bosa, all those boys. Trent Williams it says
make me
questionable.
cry.
It says questionable, but
He's not gonna play.
I've heard that he's not going to be able to play this week, and that's definitely gonna take a loss.
Yeah, Austin Pleasant's blocking.
Nolan Smith,
Yeah,
Jalen Carter, and
Zach Bond.
And Moro Ojamo.
Yeah, not looking forward to that.
Yeah, Ricky Pearsall, he has a knee/ankle, and he hasn't been practicing, so I think he's gonna be a little game time decision or the day before. But
I hate it here.
Yeah, it's not as bad on the Eagles.
Meanwhile,
side.
for Philly, Lane Johnson's practicing this week. I saw.
Yeah, he got limited practice. He's gonna come back. We just don't know how active or how good he will be. Caltera, has an ankle, but he's likely doubtful. But he's a backup tight end.
Yeah,
and then
he'll be all right. They're not gonna miss him.
Jalen Carter's banged up, but he's gonna play. Dallas Goedert's banged up. Nicole Dean or N'Kobe Dean, Marcus Epps, all those guys are banged up, but they're all gonna play. So it's definitely looking one sided. But I feel like what's gonna matter is if, like you said, if they don't force Brock Purdy to have to be Superman.
Yeah.
I think because Brock Purdy's played some good football for the past 6 weeks. But
Yeah, but there's a whole lot of tape out there on what. That's the other part, bro. Is Vic Fangio. I saw some crazy stat about Vic Fangio versus Kyle Shanahan matchups. I think Shanahan has faced the Vic Fangio defense like 4 times, and it was his teams had scored like 9, 10, 13, and like another single digit number respectively in those games. I'm like, damn, bro. Sometimes the matchups is not favorable. Some guys just have other dudes' number. You know what I mean? I feel like that way about felt that way. I feel like Spagnola out there in Kansas City. I mean, shoot, a lot of people probably feel that way about Brett, but like, it was like, dang, somehow, some way, the Niners just can't get it rolling
right.
against certain defensive coordinators. And I miss Vic Fangio, bro. He was our defensive coordinator when during that previous super that Harbaugh era
Mm-hmm.
team. And he's nice. I think the Niners tried to get him at some point in the last couple of years, um, but team wasn't trying to give him up.
Right. Um. Yeah, I think just. I mean, I agree with you. What you said. Get the ball to the boys. You better think to McCaffrey. You better find Kittle, Hughes check.
Yeah,
Give it to the playmaker so gonna. You don't even got to be nothing special. You can just swing it to McCaffrey. He's gonna make a
that's
couple
it.
guys miss. George Kittle. He's gonna little block release. He's gonna
Mm-hmm.
make some dudes miss.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
not coming
yeah.
down.
Block for a couple seconds and then get
Little
up out of there.
right. I mean, that's something I noticed last game because granted, the run game for you guys wasn't the greatest, but I mean, McCaffrey, I don't think got enough touches. George Kittle definitely enough touches last week when they played
No,
Seattle. So I think just making those guys priorities is
let me
gonna
tell
be
you
gonna be a difference maker.
what I do not want to see another tight end screen in the middle of the line of scrimmage. Having George Kittle run to the middle of the line of scrimmage and throwing him some weird little shovel pass thing. This shovel pass tight end screen junk, baby. Don't want to see none of that. I do want to see one of those Kyle Juszczyk wheel routes up the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
Like I need one of them. And yeah, bro, I'm like, get Kittle the ball quick. Um, the outs, the corners, uh, whatever routes he can get the ball in space. I don't necessarily need you to I don't need him to take the top off the defense with nobody. Let's face it, Niners ain't taking the top off of no defense.
Right.
That's
There's
not been our
there's no gonna be explosive blur plays and
no
no.
no. So I don't know. We'll see. I hope they put up a fight, bro. That's all.
I say the one thing. This is my last thing. I said the one thing that y'all got advantage of. I think y'all can finish the game better. I feel like
Yeah,
I feel like if it's gonna take my scenario is if the Eagles come out off the gates, doing their thing, making y'all go 3-and-out, then it's gonna be just a long day
it's gonna
on.
be cookies.
But I feel like if you guys can play a
Keep it
little
close.
hard nosed defense, keep it close to the second half, because we've seen Jalen Hurts has not been that good
Yeah,
this
they be
year.
breaking down.
AJ Brown,
One AJ Brown diva tantrum away from.
Saquon, what happened? I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, but I feel like if it gets to the fourth quarter and there's a one possession game, I feel like the Eagles are gonna, they're gonna break down and somehow the Niners are gonna grind it out and win.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where y'all got the advantage. I think you guys are
The
better
Niners do be
closers.
finishing games, and we've played. I think the Niners have played more close games this year. Like, have done very well in those one-score games. Um, it's so funny, bro. The Eagles have so many weapons. They don't know. It seems like they in crunch time. I liken it to like basketball. One of the Warriors' deficits in the last few years is it's like, okay, I mean, well, Steph, right?
Right.
But outside of him, especially because it's a more recent development that he can create his own shot. Like before, other points of his career, he did rely a lot more on like the off-ball movement, screens, and whatnot. He didn't have the ball in his hands all the time, but it was Kevin Durant when you needed a bucket, when the game was tight and locked up, and you just needed one bucket to close it out, gave it to KD. Same goes with the Eagles, where it's like you would think, okay, Saquon, right, go get that first down, or between him and like AJ, but it kind of seems like they be so worried about distributing the ball. Like a lot of times, Devontae's getting the ball more than AJ, which I don't think is like a bad thing. But it seems like they just have this weird like identity crisis. Like, who do we go to when we need to secure a dub? And that's what it's about. Like, yeah, closing a game. Like Kyle Shanahan, he not about to play.
Nah.
Where's McCaffrey?
Right.
Go win us the game. Like, you feel me? Or go finish the game. Get that last first down that we need. And it's, for some reason, it seems like the Eagles kind of don't necessarily do that.
Yeah, I mean, the odds look like the Eagles are gonna win, but
what's the spread?
I don't even know.
It's probably crazy.
But I mean, like you said, they got an identity crisis, and Kyle Shanahan is coach of the year candidate. So yeah, I mean, he'll figure it out if he needs to. But closing out that, the rest of these questions are more like just gonna be hearing what you guys see, your insight. I might come in every now if I got a little something, but
okay,
really just to see what you guys. So like we said, he's now a Bishop O'Dowd educator.
Oh yeah.
So I just wanted. So my question is, what made you want to become a teacher, and did you always see this for yourself? Like, do you always see yourself becoming an educator or a teacher in this kind of role?
That's a great question. Yeah, so I'm currently teach 9th grade English at Bishop O'Dowd High School in Oakland, California. It's my alma mater. I graduated there in 2011.
Damn.
Whatever. I knew that was coming. Education, careers in education kind of run in my family. My dad was, your papa was a teacher. He had a lot of jobs before that one, but for most of my life, he was a teacher and then an administrator. And your mama's being a teacher, my older sister. Like, I've always been surrounded by people who are naturally drawn to like educating others, and appreciated that. I started my experience working with young people started while I was in high school, while I was at Bishop O'Dowd. We had like a community service requirement to graduate. You had to do like 100 hours of community service across your 4 years. And my senior year, the site that I did my volunteer hours at was at this elementary school down the street called Reach Academy. We're like in the heart of Deep East Oakland, 98th and Bancroft. And I was working in the after school program there, and it was really cool, man. Just, I love the energy, loved like the feeling of being in a sort of like mentorship role, or in a role to like impart wisdom while also, you get a lot out of working with kids, right? Like, it can be draining, it can be exhausting, but I also feed off of their energy a lot. So I enjoyed that experience and kind of took that on while I was in college. I had a summer job with the National Society of Black Engineers, as a camp counselor. They had this camp called Seek, and it was a summer engineering experience for kids where, we basically would teach like engineering concepts. I'm not an engineer, by the way, but we would like teach these concepts to kids in these sort of team-based projects. And that was an amazing experience. I did that like 3 summers in a row, and that really planted the seed of like, you know the possibility of being a teacher. It wasn't an aspiration of mine. Like, it wasn't necessarily, at no point did I just make a decision like I want to be a teacher. The way it really came about was my senior year in college. I didn't have a really solidified plans after graduation, and um I was like, maybe I'll go to grad school, maybe I'll get a job. I don't know. I was living in San Diego at the time, kind of contemplating when I wanted to move back to the Bay Area. I was recruited by Teach for America, which is an organization that offers, opportunities to folks to pursue a career in education, get a teaching credential while teaching full time, rather than like going to school for it first. And yeah, so took that on. And honestly, uh, I would say like coming out of school, I just didn't want to not have. I didn't want to not have anything to show for 4 years in college. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to graduate and then go, serve bowls at Chipotle. You feel
Yeah.
me? So I was just like, all right, cool. Like having a job right out of school, absolutely. Oh, I can go get a credential and possibly go to grad school, have it, partially funded for sure. Um, I think, and my first few years, like I taught for 3 years in San Diego, and it was extremely difficult, and I didn't want to do it anymore. Like, classroom teaching was rough on me at that time. It's like a vulnerable age, early 20s. Um, so I stepped away from that work to work in like nonprofit sector. But I absolutely know that my calling is like working with, mentoring, and influencing young people in some way. I know that there's a lot of different capacities to do that. I just so happen to be in the classroom teacher capacity right now. Um, I don't know if it's permanent. Um, I think there's still a lot more ways for me to grow as a person, as an educator. But I'm also a learner, and I do kind of feel a little bit of an itch to like go back to school myself and continue to like grow and develop, because if you stop learning, like you can't just teach forever and stop learning, you know what I
Right.
mean? Because
Yeah.
it'll catch up to you. So yeah, that's that in a nutshell. I mean, I think I see myself having a lifelong career in education and youth work in some capacity. But I do think that it's gonna look different because I be getting restless. I never have the same job or whatever for more than like 4 or 5 years at a time. So
Hmm.
we'll see,
Yeah, man. I mean, I say this like my mom was a teacher. You were a teacher.
bruh.
Tati works as a counselor.
Yeah.
Papa was a teacher. My grandma, my nana was a school nurse. My
Yeah.
Lola, yo mama was substitute teacher.
Substitute.
Everywhere I look is a bunch of teachers and educators. I mean, so shout out to y'all. I don't
Yep.
know. I don't know how y'all do it, but
Me neither.
I mean, we definitely need you guys. We definitely need mentors, people who care, and all that. But
Mm-hmm.
I just know I can't be one of them. I can't. I can't deal with those kids, man.
A lot of my homies tell me the same thing. I'm not gonna lie. They'd be like, "Look, bro, you got it."
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, shout out to y'all, but like y'all got it for surely.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
so just as a little segue to that. So, how is teaching in Oakland? How's that like shaped your perspective on students and like education overall?
Hmm. Um. You know, is interesting. I think that me t- like Bishop O'Dowd is such a unique place because yes, it's we're in Oakland, we're in East Oakland, we in Deep East Oakland, we're at the top of a hill, and we have students from all over the Bay Area, right? Like while it's a school that's based in Oakland, um, not all of our students live. I mean, shoot, bro, I grew up in San Leandro, and so
Right.
um when I think about like my experience with really working with the youth of Oakland, like in addition to my experience at O'Dowd, I go back to that Reach Academy. I go back to the Seek camps in the summer when I was, the school site where we were at in that summer job was at MLK Elementary School in West Oakland, like
Mm-hmm.
on 10th and Market. Um, I love the spirit and the drive and the creativity, um, and the energy and the ambition of Oakland youth. Um, I love how young people like interact with one another in the process of like finding themselves and kind of like discovering, who they are. And Oakland is such a unique place in that even though it's changed a lot over the years, I do still feel like the core essence of what's true to Oakland is still there. but it's an interesting landscape to be teaching in right now. I'm not gonna lie. Like there's a lot of like um well, more or less like privilege um at among the student population at my school. And I think about, you know, just what would it look like for all or most of the young people in Oakland to have the opportunity to receive the type of education that we offer
Right.
at my school. Because the reality of it is there's definitely a considerable, I think, gap between the resources um and preparation of like a student with an experience at our school at versus maybe another school. And I wouldn't even make it like a private public thing. Like I'm not gonna, I ain't never gonna sit up here and bash a district school. My father was a public school educator, you know always. And I'm a product of all types of schools, public, private, charter.
Mm-hmm.
um but I'll tell you this, I want more for our kids. Like, I don't I don't think that Oakland administratively has done right by its student population in um like in OUSD. Not only like teachers not really having competitive pay, but also the programs that have been cut, arts arts programs, creative programs, even the sports programs aren't funded as well. And like that, it breaks my heart to see, because then I look at the disproportionate resources, like I say, that like we have at our school, at a private school. So I don't know. I'm very mindful of that, and I want to use my position to maybe try to open up doors to more more young people who otherwise wouldn't have access to like a school like ours. Um, yeah.
Yeah, man. That that's real for sure. Like I always wondered like how it was, because or at least like how it was for you, because yeah, I mean it's a private school, but it's in East Oakland, so like
Yeah.
I always wondered like how the dynamics were with that, like what kind of kids you guys usually got,
Mm-hmm.
and like how that how that whole dynamic usually works, because to have a private school in that kind of area, it
Mm-hmm.
just seems like
Well, I mean, we at the top of that hill. You know what I'm saying? Like that hill itself is like like a border of some sort.
right.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, yeah, we get to say that we're in Oakland or we're in East
Mm-hmm.
Oakland, but also there's still a certain amount of distance between our campus and
Because
East Oakland.
once you go down that hill,
Yeah, you
that's
know what I'm saying? You go down that hill, it's a little different. You go down Reach Academy, right? I would walk down that hill to go do my volunteer hours. It's like I said, it's a good question. There's a big range like of different like class socioeconomic classes at our school. I mean, at the end of the day, like even if y'all folks are able to take out the loan to pay for your tuition, then they might still be better off than like folks who wouldn't be able to take out that loan and have to send their kid to the school down the street because it's free.
yeah.
Um, when I got to Bishop O'Dowd as a student, I was blown away when I first started going to like when I started making friends with my classmates and going to other people's houses. Um, it was very eye opening as somebody from, again, I'm from San Leandro. Like I wouldn't say I didn't want for nothing when I was growing up, but my parents were more or less well to do. It was middle class. Like
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have nothing to complain about. I lived in a house my whole life. You feel me? Like never,
Right.
But when I got to O'Dowd, I was like, oh, this how y'all living?
It's
You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's not so here, but
oh, okay, your house is on stilts.
right.
Like we're in the hills right now. Um, and that is still the case, and I can see it. Like I see how those dynamics play out. The kids that come from, the like a lot of our students went to Catholic or private middle schools.
Mm-hmm.
And then, for those who did not, who maybe came from like a public school, their neighborhood public school, just the level of like um preparation sometimes feels different, or like you know expectations and standards of self are different.
Right.
And in a lot of ways, I think that that's part of what makes it like a really awesome place, because you're exposed to different realities than your own. But we just have to be really mindful of how to make sure students don't internalize those dynamics,
Mm-hmm.
and start looking at themselves as, less than or better than their peers based on, what kind of car they get dropped off in the
Mm-hmm.
morning, or which bus they get on to get home,
Right.
and or what the reality is inside those walls when they do get to their house. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's interesting, and I think about it every single day. For real.
Yeah, I got my little opinions on that, but we're gonna say that for another time. Because I definitely know when I have kids, they're going to public school. But
Okay, for
but
sure.
we're wrapping up. We got the last two questions.
Uh-huh.
We'll quick, not really quick fire. But we can. I mean, it's my show. I can do whatever I want. But
Exactly.
so I seen you reading last night. So
Oh, wow.
it's made me kind of think of. So I mean, what's a book that if you want to share what book you're reading last night, that's fine too.
Uh-huh.
But what's a book that you think generally like changed the way like how you think or act like or while like walk in this world? Like what's that book that like
I have multiple, and I'm gonna speak on them. Last night I was reading a book called Dry by Neil Shusterman. I've been in my YA bag, my little young adult novel bag, because I'm trying to like fish around for texts for my kids or my students. It's a really cool book based in California. It's like a dystopian novel, basically about like the dangers of the California drought, um, and what would it look like if we literally ran out of water. So pretty interesting. Related to that, I would say, I mean, the very very top of my list always is going to be Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler.
mm-hmm.
um, I read Parable of the Sower like 2 months into COVID, the COVID pandemic in 2020, and it freaked me out because it was like so eerily accurate, I think, to like the reality that we're kind of living in right now when it comes to, political polarization, the human the human nature that bends towards like, I don't know, violence and chaos when like
Mm-hmm.
systems break down, and how people kind of like try to make meaning or find significance when it seems like the whole world around them is like burning down.
Yeah.
So really really love Parable of the Sower. I highly recommend it. It's a heavy read. It's and is a little bit dense, but for a fictional novel, bar none, especially in the like sort of sci-fi, sort of dystopian, even Afrofuturist, style. I love that. So Parable of the Sower. As an adolescent, though, the two books that stick out the most to me, I read Scorpions by Walter Dean Myers when I was in high school, and it's about like a young man whose older brother was part of this gang, and is arrested and goes to jail, and the gang is trying to figure out whether or not to kind of like put on little bro, or like put him in his older
Mm-hmm.
brother's position. And I related to that text a lot, because it reminded me of the relationship I had with my older nephew, who's like a big brother to me as well. And that just, I always loved Walter Dean Myers as an author. Something about that book though just spoke to me personally when it came to like how to make decisions for myself that were in my best interest, and not like trying to fill some shoes of someone that I look up to. I appreciated that. Um, yeah. And there's another book called We Beat the Street. It was like a collab it was written by these three young men who were like best friends growing up, and they were, came from a pretty rough neighborhood, and they ended up all going to like med school and becoming doctors. Um And yeah, so they made a pact to each other, you know what I'm saying, to like stick with that and take their education seriously and like stay disciplined in the academics and whatnot. And just another example of like, again, like anybody can go any direction
Right.
when it comes to life and influences. And like when you leave the house, you jump off that porch, like you make your own decisions, and you have to be responsible for them, obviously.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's a lot of, I think, as black men, we're so, again, we internalize, or we're conditioned to like expect certain realities for ourselves. And so I was inspired by those brothers, kind of, taking their fate in their own hands, and like taking control of their futures. So yeah, I would say Scorpions, um, the Pact, I think, slash We Beat the Street. I don't know if I'm even like, I might be butchering the title, but it's something like that. And then yeah, Parable of the Sower, Octavia Butler are up there. And then I would even go honorable mention, The Will to Change by Bell Hooks. Bell Hooks is a amazing black woman feminist author, and The Will to Change is actually kind of like targeted more towards like male readers, about how to address some of our own problems, so that we can show up in the world, better people for ourselves, and particularly for women and like femme people in our
Mm-hmm.
lives. Yeah, shout out to that.
Yeah, that's dope, man. But I wish I was a reader because
You ain't trying to read.
I'm bro. Like,
Well, hey man, I could turn the question on you. I feel like I done figured out a couple for you, or I've seen you kind of breeze through a couple of books.
I don't remember the titles.
I mean, the Andre Iguodala
Yeah,
biography.
the Six Man. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good read.
The other one,
Mhm.
the one I gave you, the title is just too long. The
Yeah, but that
Invisible Man got the whole world
Invisible.
watching.
Yeah, but that was a good book. That was like one of the few books I read, like no audiobook either.
I ain't gotta have nobody read it to me.
Like that's my whole thing. Like I feel like I be hearing people talk about all the books there. I'm like I'd be internally like damn like that's cool. Like but then I'd be like it would be cool for me to do it too if I actually know how the attention span for it and I wasn't gonna fall asleep after 2 pages.
That's funny.
But
I got a recommendation for you, and I have it. Um, what's it called? I read the autobiography of Gucci Mane like a few years ago.
ah shit.
Bruh, it's actually really good. It's very, very well written. I mean, it probably wouldn't be as relevant to like you. We different generations. Like Gucci was like among that. When you think about soundtrack of your like high school
Mm-hmm.
experience, like my upbringing is whole lot of Gucci. So, and I learned other stuff like Zaytoven, his frequent collaborator and producer. Zaytoven was from the Bay. I had no idea Zaytoven was from the Bay, and that's the coolest thing about reading to me, particularly like nonfiction stuff. Is just the learning, like things that you never would have otherwise known. Maybe that's kind of common knowledge. It's not like I had to read that book to learn that,
Mm-hmm.
but learning that while reading that book was something that was really cool for me. But yeah, we got to just think, keep thinking about. For me, I'm the uncle, bro, that's gonna try to get the kids to read. You feel me? I know
Right.
you used to getting books for me as gifts. I get my niece books for gifts, like Christmas gifts, all the time. And like you might not, or I try to be really, really intentional about the books I choose that feel relatable, because I think that that's what stands between most people and like enjoying reading is nobody's put the right book in your hands yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is, or you haven't found the right book yet that you really enjoyed, and like you've been spending all your educational career having these books like shoved down your throat that you don't really care about, don't relate to, don't understand. Of course, you hate reading. You know what I mean? Like, I would too.
Yeah.
But I was fortunate enough at a young age to be exposed to like texts that were genuinely enjoyable to read.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
The book you were talking about earlier, The Pact. Yeah, the title is The Pact: Three Young Men That Fulfill a Promise and Make a Dream.
Boom.
But
Yeah. Where did I get the We Beat the Street from? I think they might have written two books.
mm,
Um, and if I'm not so either I read We Beat the Street and also know that they had this other book called The Pact, or vice versa, where I read The Pact and I think I saw about We Beat the Street. It's like the same story though, pretty much.
Right.
But that was cool, and that the coolest thing about it was it being this collaborative writing between these three brothers. So you're getting those perspectives. It's not like it's just one person. You're kind of like bouncing in between their perspectives and like um and their dynamics and interactions between each other. So yeah, that was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. I'll put that up there. I mean, it was a long time ago, so if I were to reread it today, maybe I'd have a different take on it, different feedback, criticism. You know, I have a complicated relationship with like respectability politics, or this like narrative in our community is like shuns or like pathologizes being from the hood or in the hood, or like the sort of like I think stereotypes and connotations that comes with, and
Mm-hmm.
this like this suggestion that like you just go to school and get you a job, and like that somehow makes you immune to all these,
Other
to the
issues.
disease of being like from the
Mm-hmm.
ghetto. You know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, I don't
Yeah.
co-sign.
Yeah, none of that.
I don't really conform to that philosophy, but I do see the value of like, all right, when you look around at your circumstances and you decide this is not what you want for yourself, you know, forever, and you figure out how to make that not the case. I just want it to go from individually us doing better for ourselves or for our families to like collectively as a whole, as a community, like what does that look like, and how can we continue to like really build
Mm-hmm.
with other people like us in our neighborhoods, like our actual neighbors, you know what I'm saying, in addition to our families. So
Yeah, I mean that last part about the whole just because you made it out means that you're not.
yeah.
I mean, I mean, little T Grizzly quote for you by this, on his song "Sadish." It's like talking
Mm-hmm.
about they call it being broke real, but they call it getting money fake. Like that don't even make no sense. But
Mm,
like I get it. I get what they talking about, but like it don't make
that's a
sense to me. Like,
bar.
but
They
yeah,
call being broke real with getting money fake. Well, there's this thing like why do we idolize struggling? Like
right,
we idolize grind. Like we make fun of people if they never had to. We make fun of people if they like. It's interesting. Like you'll say you were embarrassed, but it's almost like it's like a rite of passage. Like you'll get clowned if you ain't never seen a roach in your house.
right.
Or like we make fun of people for because they mama never had to like keep the oven open to keep the house warm all night,
Mm.
and you feel me, y'all, the electricity
Look
wasn't paid and they shut the water off and they shut the lights off and shit. Like
at your electric bill and shit. Like,
yeah, like it makes you less
right.
blank, and it's like why is it that we have now conflated like being black, being real, being whatever with like poverty.
Why we idolize struggling?
Yeah, like yeah, it's just poverty and disappointment and like whatever, and wanting better than that or wanting more for yourself, and somehow associated with like, oh, whatever, whiteness, or being fake, or like not being a person of your community. And it's like, bro, you know, same thing with like, bro, we idolize drug dealers and stuff. Like y'all whole
Yeah.
heroes, like y'all grew up on these movies, y'all grew up watching Scarface and The Godfather and all, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And like we lift up names like Frank Lucas, Bunchy Carter, all you whatever. It's like cool, but then like y'all can't name like nobody that y'all can't name no black inventors. You feel me? Like y'all can't name the black person that invented the washing machine. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Or like, like come on, bro.
Right.
What are we doing? Y'all can't name like a black a teacher or a black
Mm-hmm.
like
None of that.
anything
We
that's not an athlete
we got
or an entertainer.
we got shows talking about the Flannery brothers, and but I ain't seen.
Yeah, like
But
okay, bro, yeah, like BMF and you know the Wu Tang. Shout out, their story deserved to be told. It's like okay, bro, can we get a movie about like the black like nurse that like be saving lives? You know what I mean? Like
mm-hmm.
but they're not famous. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Or the whatever, or just the elder, that community person who's always held it down, lived in the same house in their neighborhood for the last 50 something years. Everybody and their mama know them generations and came through, and they always throw the fish fry. Like, let's make a documentary about them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because everybody don't gotta like everybody don't gotta slang rock, bro. Everybody doesn't have to, or now I feel like the equivalent to that is 2025, 2026, still like selling drugs. Cats be out here, they selling fentanyl like it's nothing.
Right.
And now even you translate it to a career in entertainment or in the music, it's like this never ending cycle, because the music promotes the habits, and then you engage and partake in the habits while listening to the music. And then, you know what I'm saying? It's like a never ending cycle going round. So, who knows, man?
Yeah. Like my last whole thing is like, I've been thinking like, wow, like the rap industry is really paying people to be criminals. That's like that
literally.
But I mean, hey, they make good music.
Paying people to be criminals, or at least paying people to sound like them. That's the thing. No, the rap industry pays people
to sound like
to sound like, to present themselves as criminals, so that their fans who think that they are real criminals, in an effort to imitate them, go commit real crimes, get caught, get locked up, and now you stupid.
Right, because now you ain't making that rapper bread.
Right, at all. And actually, that rapper that you trying to be like, he actually never did none of that.
Right.
You feel me? Like, the record label said, we love this.
And this is what you're gonna post on Instagram.
Flood the streets. Flood